Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events from around the world. We're starting off with a significant development in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Talks aimed at ending the war have concluded in Geneva, with officials from the US and Ukraine reporting progress, but no details have emerged on how to bridge the considerable divide between Moscow and Kiev over territorial issues and security guarantees for Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has warned against giving away territory, citing concerns that Moscow could be rewarded for its aggression with land it seized by force. This comes after a 28-point peace plan drafted by US and Russian officials was presented to Ukraine last week, which seemed to favor Moscow's long-standing demands. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has said that a tremendous amount of progress has been made at the talks, but European leaders have been more cautious. The Polish Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, has expressed uncertainty about whether we're closer to peace, while the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has described the discussions as a lengthy, long-lasting process. It's clear that there are still significant challenges to overcome before a peaceful resolution can be reached. The next steps in the process are unclear, but it's expected that President Zelensky will soon speak with US President Donald Trump, after which a new draft peace plan will be presented to Moscow. As we continue to follow this developing story, we'll bring you updates and analysis from our team of experts. For now, it's clear that the path to peace in Ukraine remains complex and uncertain. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter. We're continuing our discussion on global events, and today we're focusing on a developing story from Nigeria. Reports have been emerging of a mass kidnapping at a Catholic school in the northern part of the country, where over 300 students were taken by armed gunmen. The incident has sparked widespread concern and condemnation from international leaders. According to recent updates, 50 of the abducted students have managed to escape and are now back with their families. The Christian Association of Nigeria confirmed that these students, aged between 10 and 18, escaped individually over the course of 2 days. While this news brings some relief, it's essential to remember that more than 250 students and teachers are still being held captive. The Nigerian government is facing increased pressure to address the crisis, with President Bola Tinubu canceling his trip to the G20 summit to deal with the situation. The US president has also weighed in, warning a potential military intervention if the killing of Christians by Islamist militants continues. However, the Nigerian government has pushed back against these claims, stating that the attacks are not solely targeted at Christians and that all citizens are vulnerable to the violence. As the situation unfolds, it's crucial to consider the complexities of the conflict and the various factors at play. The payment of ransoms to criminal gangs has been outlawed in an attempt to cut off their funding, but this has had limited success. The sheer size of Niger State, with its vast forests and porous borders, poses significant challenges for law enforcement and security agencies. Pope Francis has joined the chorus of international leaders calling for the release of the remaining captives, emphasizing the need for swift action to ensure their safe return. As we continue to monitor the situation, it's essential to prioritize the safety and well-being of those affected and to seek a peaceful resolution to the crisis. Welcome back to Concrete Block. As we wrap up today's show, we're going to shift our focus to a tragic event that unfolded in County Kerry, Ireland. A trial is currently underway at the Central Criminal Court, where Thomas Carroll, an 84-year-old man, is accused of murdering his friend Patrick O'Mahony, also 84, between February 24th and 24. According to the prosecution, Mr. Prosecution, O'Mahony was a well-respected member of his community with a long history of service in the Defense Forces, retiring as a captain. The two men had been friends for decades, bonding over their shared experiences in the military and their interest in firearms. However, it's alleged that events took a turn for the worse during a weekend visit, resulting in Mr. O'Mahony's death from a single gunshot wound. The prosecution outlined that Mr. Carroll had traveled to Kerry to express sympathy following the death of Mr. Brose. O'Mahony's wife, and to spend time with his old comrade. The two men had been drinking together on the evening of February 23rd, and the next day they went back to Mr. O'Mahony's house. It was there that the alleged incident occurred. The defense has not yet presented its case, but it's clear that this trial will be a complex and emotional one. As more information comes to light, we'll continue to follow this story and provide updates. It's essential to remember that everyone is entitled to a fair trial, and we must avoid jumping to conclusions or making assumptions about the accused or the victim. Our thoughts are with the families and loved ones of those involved in this tragic event. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.